again, everybody, what is up? And we are back again with another podcast. My name is Ghost Juan Oliver, whatever you want to call me, and I am with Oscar and Callum.
What the hell was that?
What?
That was like the biggest pile of AIDS intro you have ever done.
Okay, do you want me to do another intro, Callum?
No, because we've already started off with the banter.
Then stop complaining. Oh yeah, okay. Here's a little bit of a background to this podcast, right? Context. Callum's on his man period, right? He's been in a bad mood today, and Oscar and I didn't exactly make it much better when we started to bring up the chav point again about him being a chav.
Dishing out some banter, basically, just kind of.
Yeah, it was just banter.
Piss,
nothing too sort of like offensive or anything. I mean, nothing too harsh. But Callum may have left the call at one point to let off a bit of steam, and now after trying to get this call together for what feels like 40 minutes, we're finally starting the podcast. So we apologise if Callum's a bit a bit edgy.
I don't apologise. I don't apologise. I don't actually care.
I'm apologising on your behalf.
I couldn't care less.
See, this is exactly what we mean. He's like a little like 10-year-old who's just pissed off. Anyway, so
and I've been awake all day, pretty much. So there you go.
Callum, what have you been playing?
Rocket League. I've been playing with my brother. Played The Last of Us with Oscar a bit. Played that on stream. Tuesday night?
Tuesday, yeah.
Which wasn't too bad.
It was fun.
I'm finding it hard to find a game that I really want to put delve into and give time to at the minute. So I haven't really played a lot at all. So whoever wants to go next.
I shall step up to the plate then. So yeah, as Callum mentioned, The Last of Us Remastered, been playing that quite a bit as well, enjoying the multiplayer again in that, said that before on a few different podcasts as well. But we did actually end up streaming that, so if anyone does happen to like watching streams or happen to want to see more then come watch us on twitch.tv/GreatnessDebates, and
we had one of our highest viewing records ever the other day, didn't we?
We had about 23 people watching, which sounds maybe quite small in relevance, but like in overall that's quite a lot to have on a stream, especially for a channel which isn't that big. So thank you a lot for all the people who did come to watch us, and if you do want to see more of us on streaming or whatever, then just come check us out on Twitch, of course. Last of Us Remastered, we're playing that. Earlier today, in fact, this is being recorded on Thursday night, so yesterday was the Final Fantasy reveal thing that they all did. And they revealed the release date, etc, etc. So I actually ended up playing the demo which they released for Final Fantasy 15. Played through that earlier today. It's about an hour long. That was quite enjoyable. I've never played a Final Fantasy game, so I went into it very, very blind. Enjoyed it a lot, and I'm definitely considering getting Final Fantasy 15 because it definitely looks a little bit more. I don't know.
I'm thinking about getting that game.
Yeah, what's the word though? Not adaptable, but you can kind of get into it even if you haven't played any of the other games, kind of thing. It's quite easy to get into. I feel. Okay. So definitely considering that.
You know another game that comes to mind that is like that.
The Witcher 3, I can almost guarantee.
Yeah, it is actually. Now that I think about it, yeah.
No one cares about that game.
No one.
But yeah, so I enjoyed that as well. I played Persona 4 Golden, as I've mentioned before, and I love that game, and that's obviously a JRPG, so very, very kind of similar, but not obviously the same thing, but definitely came from the same roots. So I played that earlier today. Broforce I was playing yesterday, actually, and now we mentioned this on the podcast we made last time, that it runs like shit, and it does still run like shit. They mentioned they're going to make a patch for it that fixes it. But as of now, it still drops into like the teens in terms of frames per second, which is awful. But yesterday, I went round a friend's house. It was for his birthday, his 18th birthday, and there's about 10 of us who were all just playing games and stuff. And we played Broforce on co-op, and it was really, really fun. Actually, I would recommend if you have like, in terms of like a couch co-op game, Broforce is one of the best on the PS4 because there's not actually that many. There's Towerfall Ascension, Rocket League.
I was about to say that's a really good option. Yeah. Towerfall Ascension. I had a lot of fun on that.
But I'd also say Broforce is really, really fun to play co-op. So when it fixes it to 60 frames per second, I'm sure they'll probably end up being able to make it at least run better than running into 18 frames per second or whatever.
It depends on, of course, whether or not you've got any friends, and if you're these two, you clearly don't. So.
Yeah, good one, Carl. Yep, that was some great banter on that. I can clearly see the link of where you made that witty comment.
I'll just eat a dick, faggot.
I can. Oh.
The hate is real.
What have you been playing, bitch?
Well, has Oscar finished? I'd like to let Oscar finish before I bust in, Callum.
I wouldn't really care.
I think I'm pretty much done.
Yeah, because you're such a hard ass.
I'm trying to see, but I think that's everything. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Oscar.
That's fine.
Anytime. What have I been playing? I've been playing mostly on the PC. I haven't touched my PS4 in the last solid 2 to 3 weeks, unless it's been for pro clubs, which is something that I've been playing a lot of recently because, since I broke up for the Easter holidays.
I thought you were going to say since you broke up with Cameron, but
no, but since I broke up for the Easter
this
holidays,
banter is just incredible. I can't deal
I
with
know,
it.
right?
It's
It's just too good. Since that was last week before that, last week, and we've been playing quite a bit of that. Me and 2 other friends, just going into it, dipping in and out, messing around a lot on it, and it is a lot of fun. Because of its pure incompetence as a game, as a cohesive game. But apart from that, that's literally the only thing I've been playing on the PS4, apart from maybe recording some gameplay or whatever. But I've been playing mostly on the PC. Now I went back to play Fallout 4 for technically the second time, but not really. And my cat is now moving. Sorry. And went back to gave Fallout 4 a second chance, and that wasn't particularly enjoyable, I have to say. I mean, I played another 4 hours of it, and tried doing it with a controller instead of the mouse and keyboard, which was better. Turned the settings down so that it didn't keep sort of having these technical issues, which did help. But it's still I'm still struggling with it. I'm really struggling with trying to get into the game, because I keep comparing it to The Witcher 3, and I know I shouldn't, but I can't help but compare a game like that with The Witcher 3 just based on the sort of size of it and the sort of style of the game. I usually find myself thinking, The Witcher 3 is better than this. It does certain things about it better, certain things that I find more important in a game like this better. So, unfortunately, I am having a lot of trouble with that game. I probably won't go back to it again, which is a shame unless I get bored in the summer or something. But anyway, I've been playing that. Football Manager 2016, still playing that. I've now checking my Steam account, now I've played 16 hours of that, which is nice. Bought Resident Evil 4 because it was on sale. Haven't played any of it though, going to play that soon. I've been playing a lot of South Park: The Stick of Truth for a playthrough on my channel. No plugging here, but that's going to be releasing soon, so stay tuned for that. I've almost completed that. I just need to sort of edit the playthrough through now. And then dipped into a bit of Zombie Army Trilogy and The Witcher 3 again. So, that is all I've played.
Well, you're the one.
Yeah.
You know the debate. I don't.
I've got the debate. Oh, right. This is going to be the one that Callum is the expert on. So again, to provide a bit more background on this, we in the stream that we had earlier this week, right? The topic was raised. It was I'm not sure what the strict ruling of it was, and this is a point I'd like to make at the beginning of the debate, but it was essentially about Apple products and about iOS versus Android or Macs versus PCs and that sort of stuff. And I think that would be somewhat reasonable to have in this podcast video because it's related to technology anyway. And Callum in the stream expressed strong views on it. I was in the chat just shortly and was cringing at some of the things he said, to put it lightly. So first off, I want to establish, do you guys want to do a debate on Android versus iOS, Apple versus Windows, or just about Apple products in general?
I think personally for me, I'm not a massive advocate for either, so I can't really. I'd pass this on to Callum in terms of which one to pick, because I think it applies more to him, considering he seems to be very much on the Mac side of things, or at least the Apple side of things.
Well,
no, he's the expert though.
How did
you said so yourself, dickhead?
I did not.
You did in the stream. You did.
How drunk was I?
You you said you were the what was it? The tech nerd or something like that.
Well,
Do you vaguely remember this?
I don't remember saying that, but
somebody in the chat said that Android is for tech nerds, and you said, "Oh, but I'm a tech nerd and I like Apple products."
oh, okay. All right then. Basically, in short, Windows phones or Windows.
No, but what, I was asking you, what is the
we'll
debate? What
we'll
do you
just
want
do
to
it
discuss?
in general, like
So
Apple
just
versus
general
Windows
about
versus Android, I guess.
But that's the problem. Those are completely different things. So I'm just establishing. Are we just talking about our opinions on technology in general then, in regards to Apple products at all?
Well, I mean, do you, as like a non-Apple user, I guess, have don't take this in the wrong way, but do you have a valid opinion on Apple products?
Yeah, I had a fair few experiences with at least iOS until I got my phone a few years back. Through my iPod Touch, I had like the most recent iPod Touches up until that point, so I know at least roughly what iOS is all about, and also apart from anything else, I keep up to date with a lot of technology. I watch several different YouTube channels about it. I follow some of the news that releases from it, from time to time. And I listen to people who do know a lot about it. I'm not going to claim that I'm an expert on it, unlike some people, but
hilarious, absolutely hilarious.
I am good, but I will. What I will say is that I'd like to think I'm knowledgeable about it, and that I know at least a little bit about the industry and a little bit about the different products and the pros and cons and why it's good to think about that. But let me get this straight. So, let's start with the first part of the debate. Say Android versus iOS, for argument's sake, right? In terms of the actual products that Apple makes, no problems with those, right? Only gripe I'd have with those is their price. But what you're paying for that, with that price, is the ability to go into, say, for example, the store whenever you have any problems with your Apple products, and they will sort it out there and then for you easily. Whereas with another product, you would probably have to get sorted out over the phone, send it to the producer, to the manufacturer or whatever, and it would probably take a lot longer to sort out, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you're paying for with Apple products. You're also paying for the build quality, the feeling of being premium, and the sort of the feeling of being part of what they claim is an easier ecosystem to be a part of. Now, that's largely debatable, but that is what they say you're paying for. That is what you're paying for, right? But in regards to Android versus iOS, the reason I prefer Android, for example, is simply because of the choice that it offers.
The internet is going to shit.
That's the internet is go there.
Okay, but you can hear what I'm saying at least. It is because of the choice that Android is giving you. So, say for example, in looking at any product, I think you should listen to people who are knowledgeable about the industry, who look at the pros and cons for each device, and then you can make an informed decision about which device is better for you. And I think that I don't have a problem with any Apple products per se. What I do have a problem with is people claiming that Apple products are good for everyone. Different people have different needs, and you should buy your products based on those needs, not based on a brand, which is what a lot of people do with Apple products.
I've never said that Apple products are right for everyone. I've never claimed to know absolutely everything about this sort of industry. I mean, I know a fair bit. I've had my experience with several different devices that offer different features. It's just that I personally have found a much easier need through iOS. I mean, I know it's, or iOS or Apple in general. I know it's it is extremely expensive to buy these products. It's not cheap. I paid just over £600 for my iPhone 6 about halfway through last year.
And that's crazy when you think about it, because you can buy so many different products that are half that price and do
Oculus Rift
everything.
For £600. You can buy it probably for less actually. Probably about $500.
Yeah, and regardless,
more worth
I mean,
than an iPhone in my opinion. But
but keeping it to the same product, like a phone, what are you doing on your phone that warrants you spending that much money on a phone?
I guess what's involved in the price of that is something to do with what you said, so customer service, where you get it fixed right there and right then.
But that is.
No, I know it's not. I know it's not worth like £600 or whatever.
Well, no, but therein lies. I mean,
it.
however much you value that is your own choice. But I'd like to think that the device is not likely to have a fault,
and
therefore
I've never actually broken my
you.
phone. My iPhone, I've had it since 2013, and
I mean,
I've not broken it.
The service is there, I guess, like as a backup, but. I wouldn't. Therefore, I wouldn't value it as a huge deal because I'd like to think that if you're paying that much money for a product in the first place, that it shouldn't go wrong.
All right, can we switch this argument over to Apple versus? No, listen. Can we switch this argument over to Apple versus Windows then? So, if you take Apple computers and put that up against Windows computers, try telling me now that
I'd prefer
Windows.
to discuss like
tell me that Windows.
I'd prefer.
Tell me that
Windows
is way better than Mac. Go on, tell me right now that is better.
Well,
because
this is what I was about
for a start. But yeah, okay.
This is what I was about to say. Well, good point, Oscar. But this is what I was about to say. I have not ever had a computer made by Apple or produced by Apple, so I cannot talk for that. But what I can talk for is Windows, and everything and anything that I want to do on my computer is fine on Windows. I've never felt the need to want to go over to Apple to iOS or no, that's sorry.
It's OS X.
That's it, OS X. I've never felt the need to go over to there because I mean I'm fine on my Windows computer. It doesn't do anything that I want to do better. And again, you're paying extra for those Apple computers. You're paying extra for the form factor of them, the design of them, the brands, and those are not things that I am bothered by.
What I paid for mine, so I'm using a MacBook Pro, what I paid for that for, part of it, was sustainability of the system. It's unreal how reliable these things are. I've had mine for almost 3 years now, and there's literally nothing that has gone wrong with it. I mean, I've had Windows like laptops and PCs in the past, and they've gone wrong within a year and a half, maybe even up to 2 years is probably the longest that I've owned a Windows PC.
No offense to you, but that is more to do with the person using it and how you use it and how careful you are with using that as in regards to how long your computer lasts. I mean, I've had my phone for 3 years now. I've had my PC for 2.5, and I had very few problems with any of those.
Yeah, and I know you
reasonably well, and
I know that you're going to look after your products because I know that you obviously like using them. Like there are some people out there who will just chuck their stuff about, who don't actually really give a shit about what they own, and they don't really care for it, and they only think the material things are like just something you can chuck away. But if they're, as you say, it does depend on who's using it. But I mean, like I said, it's like I used my laptop for almost 4 years now, and it's sustainable, it's reliable, nothing has gone wrong with it. And I think that's part of why people buy Apple products as well, because their products are reliable. And
it's because this sounds bad. I mean, this isn't me being like saying people are stupid or anything, but it's because they don't want to deal with the problems. Because they're lazy. They want to have the ease of access to their device all the time, and they just don't want any of the problems with it. But as the famous philosopher Dolly Parton once says, you can't expect the rainbow if you can't put up with the rain. And
you just quoted Dolly Parton. Shoot yourself.
Yeah, I know, right? No, but that's actually a quote from David Brent in The Office.
Yeah, so, I'm not a nerd like you.
And people say she's just a big pair of tits, but no. What I'm saying
is pretty much is.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that to be able to benefit from anything really, you're going to have to put up with the problems that come with it. The big problem with getting any Apple computer is the price that you pay for it. What have you done on your MacBook in the last few years, I guess, that warrants it being that much of a cost? Now, you've said that you've not gotten any problems with it, but you could easily achieve the same with a Windows computer.
Yeah. Yes. You're not wrong, indeed, but the thing is, I mean, I prefer Mac. I prefer the operating system as well, which I think plays a kind of a big part in it.
Okay. Why?
Simplistic use. so simple to use. Literally everything is along the bottom.
What is simpler on the Mac compared to Windows then?
Absolutely everything. It's based on Unix, which is the first. I'm really nerdy now. It's based on Unix, which is the first operating system kind of that was originally developed for computers, laptops, PCs, whatever. And it's basically a rehash of that, and that was really simple when it was first developed. And Apple have built on that, and they've created something that's really simple to use. You don't have to be a computer expert to use it.
Nor do you have to be a computer expert to have a Windows expert.
Yeah, but Windows is just like the most annoying shit ever. I mean, do you remember that little paperclip dude that used to pop up all the time saying, like, I don't know, it looks like you're trying to close this application. Do you need help? Or some bollocks like that. I don't get that with Mac. Like, it's little things that I have gripes with. It's like, I can't easily change my settings in Windows because you have to go through 500 different options to change something. And in Mac, I literally open up my system preferences and then I change it all from there. Literally, it's literally a click or two away. It's like when people are designing their websites, yeah, they want to. It's like a 2-click rule or something, and it's like you've got that person's basically got to get to where they want to in 2 clicks. That is basically what Mac is offering to me, and how I use it.
In all honesty, Callum, I think that's perfectly possible, and whatever I do, I mean, everything I want to get to is within 2 clicks, if not thereabouts. I mean, I have everything I have that I usually use along my taskbar, and I just click that, and I'm there. So I don't understand what you're referring to when you say this. You're making these grand statements, and I don't know how you're qualifying them.
Well, another argument that I have is that Mac didn't make Windows 8, so
Windows 8, I use it now, and it's fine. I don't use any of the bullshit apps. If you look, I'll actually take a picture of this now and send it to you in the chat after the podcast. But if you look at my app page, it is the most barren thing. There's literally nothing there because I do not use that. I use my desktop, and the desktop is effectively what I need. You know, it's effectively the same as Windows 7.
That OS was optimized for touchscreens, and not everyone had access to touchscreens. And Microsoft.
I don't have a touchscreen either.
Exactly,
it's
optimized for
fine.
touchscreen. It's a load of bollocks. I think it's ridiculous. It's the most pointless OS ever. There are so many problems with it. I've had to use it.
What
it's
problems?
Awful. Everything about it. It's just too
problems?
confusing.
Name specific stuff instead of making grand statements.
Hey, can I say something? Because I'm not saying anything
go ahead.
yet.
No, because you know jack shit, Oscar.
Well, I know. I'll admit, actually,
Callum, you have not said one thing so far that has convinced me that you actually know, like, specific things that are bad with Windows or specific things that are bad with Android phones. You've not said one thing that is actually legitimately, like, a fact.
Okay, alright. Android, yeah? It's too...
Let Oscar say something.
Screw Oscar. He's a dickhead. Right, Android is too... I don't care, shut up. Android is way too complicated to use. You have to literally... I've had experience. I've used it. You have to scroll through several pages to find anything you ever need. And that is the most aggravating thing ever. I found it so annoying when I used it. I literally got rid of it after like 2 or 3 months.
About?
Shut up, Paul. Everything about
what are you on about?
whatever.
Scrolling through things to get to where you need to be.
It's not simplistic, which is what most people want from their devices. You're a retard.
You unlock your phone.
You're
use
a retard.
the BBC Sport widget to go to the most latest BBC Sport news. It's right there for me. You go into social Twitter. There we are. We're back on Twitter. Go here. Games. There's all my games. Languages. That's what I use for my languages. Play music. All my other
Google
apps
Translate?
there. Here's my app drawer right here. Then with Android also, you can make it look cooler if you want to, even because you can have different skins. You can have different launchers. There's more options with the App Store. There's more apps on the Android App Store. Oh my god!
Because
there's
the
just
App
more
Store
freedom
means
to do it.
everything.
Obviously not. No, but that's just a point amongst the other ones that I've raised. Anyway, Oscar, what were you saying?
No one cares about his opinion.
I've basically had no input on this conversation, and as I was about to say before, like you went on this Android thing that I was on about. Pretty much, I was about to say, well, out of the 3 people here, I'm probably the least knowledgeable on this stuff in terms of Mac versus PC or whatever, because, well, first I've never actually really ever used a Mac. I think I have probably used a Mac in like a shop before, like a Best Buy or like a PC World or whatever, but never really actually fully been able to use one, because most schools, most workplaces everywhere uses PCs, maybe with the exception of video editing suites. I know for a fact that if you want to video edit, the best computers to use are Macs, from what I understand, because Final Cut Pro is very useful, although I personally think that Adobe Premiere is probably going to be better. I'm actually going to be able to use that at university, because that's the video editing software that we use for journalism, so that would be great to help with YouTube, because it'll be obviously able to use for both things. But yeah, anyway, in terms of video editing, from what I understand, Macs are very useful, and their UI is quite nice as well. It's very fluid, but I think that's very kind of applicable with most Apple products. I think the UI is very, very good.
It's simplistic for sure, yeah.
Simplistic. I like the kind of animations that you got at the bottom of the Mac. You like the kind of like scrolly up bars. It seems a lot more simpler than having to press start and you have to got all this stuff. You have obviously got the desktop icons on both, but overall maybe the UI is a little bit more interesting and more simplistic, as you said, Kwan, for OS or iOS. But yeah, in terms of like as I mentioned before, actually, Macs are less supported than PCs. And I think that's kind of like a common knowledge thing. Really.
I think that's an invalid statement.
Well, look at Rocket League. Rocket League still isn't out on Mac. Like,
in terms of gaming, that's true.
In terms of gaming, definitely.
In terms
but not
of
in
everything
terms
else,
of
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, yeah.
In terms of support in general, that statement is completely flawed.
No, I was probably thinking more of a gaming aspect, to be honest. But I know for a fact that Rocket League still isn't on PC. On
but
Mac,
no one cares about gaming. It's not like this is a gaming podcast.
You don't buy a Mac for gaming unless you're my sister, and then get like incredibly disappointed by it a year later.
Even I knew that's a retarded move.
Yeah, no, it was a retarded decision. But yeah, as far as gaming is concerned, Oscar's right. But everything else is probably like for like, I'd imagine.
They're obviously they're not actually completely identical, but there's people who are very, very much support Apple with everything they make, kind of thing. There are those people who are like literal, I wouldn't say fanboys of Apple, but I would say they are.
And I am not one of those. I am
brand
not one
loyal.
of those.
And if you're a fanboy of Apple, then that's probably a completely different matter. But just being a fan, or at least being just a supporter of Apple, is
I've no problem with them. As I said at the beginning of the debate, the problem I have is when people claim just sort of go around distributing and sort of proclaiming how amazing they are, and just saying.
And you're saying that Windows is amazing.
I've never actually explicitly said how incredible Windows is. I've literally just said Windows does everything I want it to do and everything I could ever ask it to do. Yeah. So why would I change?
There's annoying parts in Windows as well.
Windows has its problems for sure. Yeah. You just have to be canny about it. You just don't need to be brain dead. You just need to know how things work and watch tutorials and learn about your PC.
Yeah, but some people are too stupid to do that, so that's...
It's not a matter of being too stupid, it's just a matter of making the effort to do it. And people, if you're buying something that expensive, perhaps there's an argument there in that you should be able to, know why this computer's so good, or why you should take care of it more. It's because you spending a big chunk of money on it.
I'm spending that big chunk of money for reliability and sustainability of the system. It gets great. I don't think you could honestly argue that buying a £1,000 Windows PC compares to buying a £1,000 Mac. No, because people who spend £1,000, people who spend £1,000 on a Windows PC are most likely spending that amount of money on a gaming PC rather than anything else. I don't see you can spend I think maybe 150 to 200 quid, and you can get an average Windows system. You can get an average
150 to 200 quid is a low end for sure.
Yeah, you can get an average, a decent Windows system that will probably do you a decent amount of service for about a year. And then it will drop off the...
No, more than that,
it will drop off the face of the planet.
And also it depends on the people manufacturing it also. I mean, how well it's been put together and designed and that sort of stuff. But a year, that's not fair to say at all. I mean, you haven't bought one, you don't know. there's no reason to suggest that it would just go kaput after a year. There's no reason to suggest
because
that.
I've had experience of that.
What experience?
I
keep saying this.
Oh my god, whatever. I've explained.
What
I have
PC for £150 or £200 have you used for a year?
I bought a Windows laptop a few years ago.
A few years ago.
And it cost me £200, I think it was.
I imagine this is before he got his Mac, which he said he's
was
had for
before,
3 years now. So
yeah.
this will be before 2010, probably.
I'm thinking about 2011, roughly, maybe. Bought it for about £200, and I looked after it as well as I look after my Mac now, as well as I look after all the products that I have. And after a year, it just went kaput. There was nothing I could do about it. It was irrecoverable. Everything about it just went wrong. There was nothing I did wrong with the system that I thought I'd done wrong.
The way you say that, though, like, computers don't just, like, go kaput, like, for no reason.
Because Windows is shit and Windows gets viruses too easily.
It just doesn't happen. And on the virus point, I mean, yeah, naturally there's going to be more viruses on Windows because there's more computers that use Windows, so there's more incentive for people to want to create viruses for it. But again,
which is why you should use Mac.
I don't have any virus protection on the PC. I use the bog standard Windows Defender that comes with it, and I don't go on dodgy websites. And hey ho, I've not gotten any viruses.
Well, you do go on dodgy websites. You go on Pornhub a lot because you can't get any. So.
I had one virus from when Oscar told me to go and watch Lord of the Rings on that website he linked to me, but then I managed to deal with it. Yeah,
I give you a virus? I didn't give you a virus.
No. You recommended a website to me. It was this like MovieTube or something, was it?
Oh right, yeah.
Anyway, so I went on that, and then because I didn't have an antivirus and anti-malware, whatever, I actually got a virus. But again, I dealt with it very easily because all you have to do is get a few of the free virus removal softwares along with Windows Defender, and they'll just weed out the problem straight away.
I think I've got McAfee installed on here, so I think I'm fine. But I don't know, it's just.
Well, you don't even need it. Like a lot of the time, when your virus protection actually slows down your computer once it's got once it's actually identified any viruses you do have, because it doesn't tend to deal with them unless you actually go and manually deal with it yourself.
You can tell that Oscar's a noob with computers.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to go out there and say I'm amazing with computers. I know I'm not.
Well, not after that £1,000 PC debate.
Well, that's just a ridiculous comment in itself. Can we move on from this anyway? We've been talking on this for that's 20 minutes.
Well, we're pretty much there, aren't we?
I think so.
So what's the viewer topic?
So I got quite a few actually. Thanks for everyone for doing that. Of course, I did say in the last podcast to give us some more, and of course continue to do that with every single podcast that we upload. It is very, very helpful. But there's some responses to the Shag, Marry, Kill that we had last week. And some people actually, let me quickly find. I think it was Matt who mentioned it. That's right, yeah. So he said the Shag, Marry, Kill thing should become an essential part of each new podcast moving forward. I personally find it far more interesting than the TV and movie discussions. Well, I mean, that's again personal preference. I think we're still going to do the TV and movie thing, of course, because that's still something that we always like to talk about. But in terms of the Shag, Marry, Kill thing, it was quite entertaining, I will admit that. And as a result of that one that we had last week, Vishan Fishy, of course, gets top comment. What a surprise. And yeah, basically he suggested another one. So I thought, why not continue the trend, and we shall go with another one this week. And you guys may have seen this one already, but it is still a very, very, very difficult one, I think. Shag, Marry, Kill. Susan Boyle, the Queen.
I've seen this.
Or Robin.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that.
I've got this down to a T.
I'm gonna go for Callum first.
Got this down to a T.
I've not really thought about it that much.
Kill Robin.
Yeah.
Just kill Robin.
I think that's the standard one.
I'd rather not do any of that shit.
No, marry Robin.
You're a bit gay.
Oh, come on.
I think I'd marry the Queen because dollar. And then, unfortunately, I'd have to shag Susan Boyle, but at least I could put a bag over her head and just say, like, I imagine she's someone else, so...
Okay.
Quan, go for it.
He says it as if he's done it before. Now I'd probably agree with Callum to be there,
exactly.
to be honest.
Yeah, actually,
because
it
is a fairly straightforward decision, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because his reasoning behind it is solid, you know. And also, the alternative would be to Oh no, I could easily make a joke about the Robin sex stuff, but I'm not gonna go there. I can't go there.
When it's in video form, it's more difficult to get rid of compared with stream form. But
yeah. I could. I think you two may know what.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Wait, I'll type it in the. Wait.
I know what you're talking about.
We already know what's coming, Quan. We already know what's coming.
We can't repeat it, so no one in this podcast
Anyway.
is going to understand. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We can't talk about that because he'd slaughter us. He'd probably kill us. He would just travel to England just to kill us. Come on.
Oh God.
Okay. So. In terms of myself, then oh god, what the fuck are you typed in the chat now, Quan?
No, just move on. Move on.
Okay.
Moving
so
on.
I would actually agree as well, but I wanted to add a quick point as well. The reason I'd marry the Queen is because she's very old. She might die soon, so then you'd be able to,
you'd inherit all her dollar.
Inherit her money, and also you wouldn't have to you wouldn't have to actually be married to her anymore.
Plus, you'd be the king of England. Like, come on.
So there you go. If you do have any more of those shag, marry, kill things that you have suggested, please put them in the comments. They are quite fun. Try to make them quite difficult, because then it can be quite entertaining. So maybe like 3 really, really bad people, if that makes any sense. So there you go. Thank you for the suggestion there, Vishan Fishy, and as always gets top comment. Oh, actually, quickly to mention that Patrick Mimnar also responded to that, and he said, "Kill the Queen." Obviously, apparently, he's put brackets. Obviously, marry Susan Boyle for the money, and oh shit, meaning he has to fuck Robin, which is interesting.
I think you're on your own on that one.
So there you go, Patrick. That's an interesting one. Different to ours, anyway. But yeah, there you go. Thank you for the suggestion on that one. If you'd have any more, please put them in the comments.
Have you got an actual viewer topic like that people would want us to discuss?
So yeah, I do actually have one right here. This is from the Annoying Furlong, which I nearly read wrong there. The Annoying Footlong, I was about to say, but no,
Yeah.
we'll go with it. Oh, hang on, no, I read it wrong. No, it's not. Sorry, it's the Anthony Furlong. I couldn't read because my fucking screen is not big enough. And unfortunately, the zoom was awful on this. The Anthony Furlong. Sorry, I got that wrong for a second, but there you go. I've now corrected it. Which football teams do you guys support? And then add an additional question: can Leicester City do it? Now, of course, this is very related to English football, so soccer if you're American. And yeah, pretty much in the Premier League at the moment, Leicester City are winning the league, or at the top of the league, and they're not a very big team compared with Manchester United and Manchester City and Arsenal, Chelsea, etc.
They always used to be, though. I mean,
They used to be, yes.
In recent memory, that they haven't been that.
But they are currently at the top of the table, and they have been basically at the top of the table for quite a while, and people are very much in support of them because they are a smaller team compared with in terms of money and in terms of players and etc. Than the big teams. So that's quite an interesting topic. But first, what football teams do we support? Quan, I think you've expressed yours many a time. But
yeah.
For the confirmation,
Queens Park Rangers, the finest football team the world has ever seen.
My cameras went out. But yeah, so there you go. Quan supports QPR. I support Nottingham Forest, who, of course, have won the European Championship twice. The only British team, only English team, to win it twice in a row, 1979 and 1980. Ever since then, they've kind of dropped
It's good
off.
that you remember that, then.
They've kind of dropped off. Ever
Just
since
a tad.
Really. But they're still a good team. They're in the second division of English football, mid-table. They're okay, but they're not quite as amazing as they were before. But still a good team. But that's who I support, Nottingham Forest. And go for it, Callum.
I support the most successful English football club, Liverpool. We have,
and in that one sentence, he's explained why he supports that club.
No, I support them because I think if I supported any other team and I lived in this house, I think I would be beaten. Because Manchester United are scum, Man City are scum, Chelsea are scum, Arsenal are scum. But
I agree with Chelsea.
Well, they're all scum. Who cares?
Fucking rent boys.
But in regards to can Leicester City do it? Yes, I think they can. They've had an absolutely amazing season so far. I think Jamie Vardy has played a massive part of it.
I heard he's having a party.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah.
He is having a party.
I know, yeah. I think next season, if
Chat shit, get banged.
if and only if he leaves that club, I think they're
What, Vardy?
yeah.
Nah, he won't leave.
No,
Didn't he just sign a new contract like a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, probably did.
All right, can you listen to my reasoning for a minute, please?
Okay, go for it.
Thank you. Shit, I was like polite to you two
You're on about
faggots.
Jamie Vardy's on the
Oh wow, this podcast went downhill real fast.
Oh, come on, just explain.
No,
The
right.
only reason we're interrupting you is because you keep going,
Well, I'm trying to speak, but you dickheads keep interrupting me. Shut
Yeah,
up.
because you can't
Right,
speak, Callum.
I'm going to speak now. Listen, right. If Jamie Vardy, if at any point he decides to leave that club after this current contract ends that he's signed, I think Leicester might take a dip. I think they'll go down towards the lower end of the table because he has been a central part to that team this season. He has scored a lot of their goals. He is, I think at the minute, is the top goal scorer in the Premier League. I think that's a pivotal role. I wasn't completely positive on it. I mean, I think he's one of, if not the top.
You can't like disregard like Mahrez or all them though. Like there's no.
Well,
I'm not. That's what I mean.
I was literally just about to say. I think like Leicester's like story so far this season has been pretty damn incredible. It's actually Harry Kane who's the top scorer, but it's been pretty damn incredible. The change from last season to this season, there's been a massive number of factors that have contributed to it, I think. Well, I don't think anybody could have predicted what has happened, but with these sorts of factors, they were always going to be successful. So Ranieri has come in and he's actually instilled some confidence in the players. Before he came in, or at least before Leicester picked up their form towards the end of last season, they had no confidence in themselves, and confidence is a massive part of football, I think, more than any other sport that you could probably name. And in that way, with Leicester being more confident from the end of last season, it did carry on into the next season, despite their manager leaving, despite Nigel Pearson being sacked, not being sacked, leaving by mutual consent or whatever it was. Despite that, Ranieri's come in with being his calm and collected self, cool guy, just relaxed, wants to play in the best possible style, the proper way football should be played. They're more a counter-attacking team, but nevertheless they do attack a fair bit. That's instilled confidence in them, but there's also been a number of key players for them. I think the whole their back line has been solid, in particular Wes Morgan and Robert Huth. Them two have been absolutely key in keeping some of their clean sheets this year. Kasper Schmeichel also been a very, very key member in that. I think their biggest player, maybe second biggest player, but the biggest player for me has been N'Golo Kante, because he's allowed other players in that Leicester team to do their thing, to express themselves. And I think the second person to N'Golo Kante would be Riyad Mahrez, in that he has provided so much for Leicester. He's scored, 16 goals so far?
Right,
and
now that Quan is completely boring us with his football knowledge, can we just move on?
But again, he's not only got the goals, he's gotten the assists too, Mahrez, so he's probably had an even bigger influence than Jamie Vardy. But then, of course, there is Jamie Vardy in a goal scorer, in somebody who's willing to put in the work rate in, willing to chase lost causes, and score the goals on top of that.
The goal against Germany was very good.
Yeah, it was good. It was good, a good goal. But all those players together, and also their relationship with each other, has been great. I mean, the squad from last season hasn't been hugely changed. That's why the confidence has played so much a part in it. But the key players have been brought in, such as N'Golo Kante, and another few key players in there to sort of strengthen the squad, but then also have that confidence, have that fearlessness to play how they play against teams. And also, again, with the solid back line, I think it's just a good combination, and I'd really like to see Leicester do it. I think they can. I just think they need to keep their nerve, and I would like to see Leicester do it just for the sake of English football.
Instead of having the same team win over and over again.
Yeah, but if not, I'd like to see... If not, I'd like to see Tottenham do it, because Tottenham have also been a wonder to watch this year, and nobody expects either of these two teams to go and challenge for the title. So I'd like to see either of them win it, but mostly Leicester, just because it's a bit of a fairy tale, isn't it? And we all like a good fairy tale.
Yes. Right. Swiftly moving on, because Quan's just made our viewer rate drop to 0%.
It's better than going, Jamie Vardy,
What have you guys been watching this week?
What was I saying again?
Oscar didn't even give an opinion on that.
I don't care. Oscar's opinion's invalid. What have you been watching this week?
Well, that was fun. I'll kick it off with what I've been watching, because I have actually watched some stuff. I, funny enough, still not watched Better Call Saul for the past 4 episodes now. So excuse my lateness with that. I need to do that, and I'm even on like Easter break at the moment, so I should do that. But I have exams, unfortunately, I have to revise for.
Lol.
But yeah, so I did do that, but I'm done now, in fact. But I have watched, in fact, and I was talking to this with Callum. I think I may have mentioned it on stream. I think I did. That I went back and watched 2 of my favourite episodes from South Park. I actually ended up, ages ago I actually bought them on iTunes when I had my iPod, and I watched them on there. And I suddenly remembered that I had them on my iTunes, so I went on my iTunes, re-downloaded them onto my iPhone, and watched them on there. And that was really, really fun to watch those 2 episodes again, because I've not watched them in such a long time. And those 2 episodes are, if you are well known with South Park, one of them was Make Love Not Warcraft, which is basically it's basically to do with World of Warcraft, but it's just brilliant. The writing is fantastic, and the way that they've included the kind of World of Warcraft actual game in there, and kind of taking the piss out of people who play it, but also kind of making fun of like the in-game stuff and all the kind of gaming jokes that are in there. Very, very fun, and you can see kind of how that led into the Stick of Truth, and of course the Fractured But Whole. And the other one that I watched was The Human Centipede, which is, again, ironically linked in with our debate. But, yeah, basically that's to do with, it's like a mixture of the Human Centipede, which is just, I've not seen the film, but I know what it is, and it's retarded.
Just don't.
But basically, yeah, they the South Park writers just went, you know what, fuck it, let's try and make a joke out of this. Did exactly the same thing, but instead you have like an iPad glued to the front of the person, although the iPad glued to the ass of the person on the end, and then an iPhone glued to the head of the person at the front, and it's just the most retarded thing. But it is South Park, and the writers,
you can't expect anything less.
Matt Parker and Trey Stone are just weird. So yeah,
some of the things that have been happening in South Park: The Stick of Truth have been like unbelievably weird.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It's
brilliant. I'll save it for the playthrough. Go on, Callum.
Oh, you want me to go? Okay. I've watched Better Call Saul. The week just gone. Pretty good episode. I'm still behind on Gotham at the minute. I lied on the podcast last time round. I didn't watch Shawshank Redemption. I completely forgot that. But I went back and I watched that this week. Last weekend. The bank holiday weekend we just had in England. Fantastic film. I cannot fault it at all. I also watched The Godfather Part 1, which is, again, another faultless film. Absolutely brilliant film. And last weekend as well, I also went and saw probably one of the shittest films I have seen in the cinema in a long time. Batman v Superman: The Dawn of Justice. It was horrendous. There's one redeeming factor I can find in that film, and that is Ben Affleck as Batman. I mean, he's so charismatic, it's unreal. He just has such a presence on screen. I think he stole every scene that he was in. But the film was just a mess. The story was a mess. The film's called Batman v Superman, and they fight for like 5 minutes, if that. And the way that the fight ends is just retarded, and I can't get over that. The ending was also ridiculous. You just knew it was coming, but Zack Snyder's an asshole and just ruined it. I also watched...
Callum's inner Marvel fanboy is now coming out.
No, because that's a DC film, dipshit.
That's what I mean. So
how does that make sense? No, how does that make sense? I could name you several Marvel films that were an absolute failure. Iron Man 2 was a failure. Daredevil was a failure. X-Men Origins Wolverine was a failure. The Wolverine was a failure. And I also watched Man of Steel just before I went and saw that, and that's still just as crap as I remember it.
Yeah, but you've barely ever said that DC, like any DC film is good apart from like Batman Begins and any of the Batman films. Like,
I'll name you some DC films that are good. The original Batman with Michael Keaton, like that. Those two films, absolutely incredible. The original Superman 1 and Superman 2, like the originals, like back in the 70s, I want to say, or early 80s, incredible films. Nolan's Batman trilogy, bar Dark Knight Rises, because that was a pile of crap. Brilliant films. I'm really looking forward to Suicide Squad, which is coming out this year. Like Green Lantern was horrendous. I think everyone knows that.
Yeah, of course.
But I do like DC. I like DC. I like Marvel. I like the films. It's just the way that these films are being directed. They're trying to do the same thing that Marvel did back in 2008 when they released Iron Man, and it's just they haven't got a Robert Downey Jr. to basically start this franchise off. I think it's something to do with DC being a lot darker and a lot grittier, that it doesn't give fans the chance to respond in similar way that they did to Iron Man, because that film started off something amazing, and DC are trying to do exactly the same thing, and it's not working out in the way that they hoped.
Oh yeah, when I did watch the original Iron Man, I did actually like there were comedic elements into it as well, which is what I liked about it.
Which is why DC is kind of not as popular, I think, because they don't have that comedic side. I mean, I love the characters in DC. I think I probably like Batman more than most Marvel characters. He's probably one of my favourite characters in comics. But it's not... They can't generate or create a good world, a good cinematic universe around these characters. And when they can't make Superman or Batman really that popular, when they're trying to start something like the Justice League off, they're doing something wrong, and I don't think they're going to go very far with it.
Well, there you go. The review of Batman v Superman by Callum.
Hey, well, I know what the debate is next week. Why are superhero films really good?
You see, that would be good if there were a certain member who actually turned up to these podcasts. His name leaves me now, but
yeah, I don't know.
it'll come back to me later. Sorry?
I have no idea who that
called
is.
Again? Is it called...
I forgot it.
Oh,
it's called like Faggot Gaming or something like that.
That's the one. Yeah.
I don't know.
Damn it! I said it.
I've said it like 3 or 4 times.
It's been said twice already. Don't worry.
Okay.
Like, don't worry about it. I think he's in our channel trailer for some reason. Like, I have no idea why.
Yeah, I don't know. Whoever decided to do that is just what. What have I been watching? I've been watching a range of things. I've got a lot of things on my to watch list. Daredevil season 2 is all right.
I need to watch that, but like.
You should, because it's actually the only ever superhero thing that I've actually like genuinely enjoyed. So I think you would.
Okay.
What else? House of Cards. Been watching that with my.
Did you watch Deadpool or Grimsby, by the way? Sorry.
I watched Grimsby in the end.
Need to watch Grimsby still.
Grimsby is absolutely hilarious.
I've seen it.
Is it better?
It's really
is it better than The Dictator? Is it better than
anything's better than The Dictator?
Oh, I love The Dictator. I thought it was a good film.
Yeah, I thought The Dictator was alright. I think it's less. It's weird. It has some like really cheesy bits.
Well, that's Sacha Baron Cohen films in a nutshell.
But but like I don't think they were intentionally cheesy. I don't know. But only a few of them, and then like the rest of them, like some of the things that happened were just absolutely like, how has he thought of that?
Wasn't it something to do with like crawling inside some elephant's uterus or something?
Yeah,
something like that.
Elephant bukkake. Yeah, it's just weird. But
you need to watch Deadpool.
There's some weird stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's not a film that you go and praise for anything other than it's just completely,
crazy,
random humor. Yeah, I mean,
is it better? My question, actually, no, I haven't seen it. What was I talking about? Is it better than Borat?
I don't know. I haven't seen Borat.
Why?
What? No.
Why?
Oh, come on. I've seen Grimsby, neither of you have, and now you two are giving me shit for not seeing
it. Yeah, hang on. Borat's the best Sacha Baron Cohen film he's made.
I've seen clips from Borat.
I beg to differ. Ali G's pretty good.
No, Ali G is good. I've not fully watched Ali G, but I have watched up to a certain point. But no, I always liked the character of Borat just far more because of his... I mean, Ali G was obviously like some kind of like British chav person.
OG.
But Borat is just so crazy and just so retarded, and him being in America is just brilliant. But yeah, Borat for me is the best film that he's made. But I did like The Dictator as well. I thought that was quite good.
Anyway, so I saw that. Thanks for reminding me, because I was actually not going to mention that.
Right.
House of Cards, seeing that after this podcast. What else? People vs. O.J. Simpson, which is good. There's something else that's ongoing. Better Call Saul, of course. Then watching that, I'm up to date on that. That's getting better. I'm enjoying it more now. More because I can see where it's going now. Finally moving into what we actually wanted to see from Saul from the beginning. So I guess that's testament to how big a fan we guys are, because we're actually still watching it despite it taking so long. But,
I've not yet, but
but as Callum has stated several times in this podcast, you're retarded
And a faggot.
Other than that, I've been watching. I've watched 2 French films. I've watched Gang Story, which I mentioned last podcast, I think, and La Haine, which is here. I've actually got the DVD here. Ooh,
La Haine. What's that film
La
about?
Haine.
Just quick.
Hate. It's about. It translates to hate.
Great.
It's about three. It's about the riots that happened in 1995 in Paris, right? And it was meant to be, and it was intended as an eye opener to pretty much not just France but the whole of Europe as to what France and Paris. Well, it's not in Paris actually. It's in the banlieues, and it's in the sort of estates outside of Paris. But then they go into Paris at the end. Anyway, regardless of that, it's about the life in the suburbs of France, what it's really like, and the problems between like that about the relationship between the police there and the minorities there, and the 3 main characters: one's black, one's a Jew, and one's Arabic.
I think a film that better represents stuff like that, like the minority kind of thing, is Schindler's List.
Well, but you have to see this. You really do. I'd recommend that end to anybody, because it's absolutely brilliant. It's a really good film.
It does sound really familiar, like I have seen it. But, yeah.
It's my favourite French film, and one of my favourite films, full stop. It's a great film. It's like an 8.1 on IMDb. I think it should be much higher, but I watched that, really enjoyed it. I'm thinking of doing my French speaking exam on it, actually, because there's a lot of aspects of that sort of cross over into my French syllabus. But anyway, you guys don't want to hear about that. What else have I been watching? I've been watching loads, but I think that covers the main
I missed
things.
something. I watched the greatest Christmas film ever. I bet you can't name it.
Let me guess. Elf.
Nope. Bet you can't name it.
Oh.
Home Alone.
Home Christmas Special. Oh,
no.
The Grinch.
No.
We're naming some quality ones.
The National Lampoon.
No.
No.
It's going to come to me.
Muppet Christmas Carol.
No.
You've got a load, Oscar. Damn, I've got.
No, I know. I like Christmas films. I like
watching
them.
Bad Santa?
No.
Miracle on 34th Street.
No.
Oh my God! I've just crossed the
Nightmare
hour
Before
mark
Christmas.
on the audio recording.
I'm struggling here. I'm thinking of all the Christmas films I can think of.
Well, you're not thinking hard enough.
What?
Wait a sec.
The greatest Christmas film of all time is Die Hard.
What?
You're retarded.
No.
And with that, I think we shall end the podcast.
See, I was like naming proper Christmas films.
That was a good way to end off the podcast, Colin, because it shows how much banter you've had on yourself this podcast. It represents that.
Whatever, man. And with that, we'd like to thank you a lot for watching. And
this is officially the longest podcast we've ever had. Absolute madness.
Brilliant.
Can't believe it.
I know, right?
Look at it.
And with that, bye.